I did. Not a surprise. And I just felt like I can't imagine what it would have been. It was probably so I should have had some.
I remember when I was traveling, I traveled like 4 of them a day because nobody
That's what I said.
we were on dialysis patients.
So vitamin C.
I said, yeah, I think I've done it twice.
There you go.
So I went out of management, went back to the school, and I was traveling to make sure treatments. And it was Christmas of 2021. I had influenza A, so I've been and they said to me, you keep your feet down with Tylenol.
Oh, okay.
No problem.
I'll be around. I'll call you. Okay.
You're all over.
Only just because of you, Don. You're my inspiration. You are. That's why you're going to be mayor.
Wow. It's the best decision I ever made. I'm waiting for the next pandemic.
Oh, goodness. I'm glad you.
I'm ready. My bank account's getting low.
What was we lost the furnace, air conditioner, and a washer.
I had to replace our furnace, a hot water heater, and air conditioner at the end of last year.
Oh my goodness.
Went out.
We used a new man. I don't know. We'll see how this. He seems very nice.
I need the next pandemic. So we start making 60 just for a year. You can come back. So Maumee is draining me.
You did? For free?
Bring it up.
Uh-huh.
You know, we pay $7 on home warranty for the first one.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, we knew that one furnace was going to go out because it was built for. So we knew that.
Huh.
Then they fixed the washers, dryers, and all the $75 for the service call.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Parts.
I know that when we built ours, we were getting, they're coming out with the New Year's models, so I got the last year's model, so I got a discount on them, and I think I got everything for like $13,000.
Wow. Oh,
Which was, well, again, I still had that cushion from my last pandemic. That's why I'm ready for my new one. I was hoping monkeypox was going to take off. I still
don't even.
put me in a suit. Just hose me up when I come out the door. I'm your woman. Let's do it.
Hey, that wheelchair work out?
It did. I am. I'm your woman. Put me in a suit. Send me in. I don't care. Just hose me off on my way out. I start at 6.
There you go.
My husband goes, "You would too, wouldn't you?" I said, "Yep." I'm your huckleberry. Where are you going to send me? He says, "You have a death." I said, "If God wanted me gone, he'd have taken me a long time ago." I've had several opportunities. Thanksgiving's coming. Thanksgiving is coming up already.
I know. And it's
It is, but it seems like it's just around the corner. I can't believe it's enjoy that. Please do not check your phone at all. You see, and do never really. I went to Nashville because my staff, nobody does time cards like ours with them. Nobody makes sure everything's done like ours. Nobody comes out of like I. It's just.
Those homes they're putting out there by fallen timbers. Is that Maumee? My brother-in-law said no. But the homes they're putting by fallen timbers, they are Maumee. Because he said no, that's Montclair.
Actually, it's my second husband. That's what I hear.
I'm not against new homes. I really not. And like to see growth.
Goodness, look at another full house.
talk about old times. Remember when we used to have to go?
You need to wait. That's crazy.
I know, right?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah, you need yeah.
We'll go.
Yeah.
Warren won't go up either.
You were, you guys were on your job?
No, she's in the first Virgin Islands. Being a pirate for 10 days. Those are, yeah.
Yes.
And I took one right when I was here.
Oh,
Brand new.
lovely.
Stuck in my ear.
Yeah, that's a little, pretty little sketch. I bet that went really well for him.
Anybody want to take bets on how long it's going to take us to vote tomorrow? You lucky ducky. If I weren't ill at the last 2 weeks, we would. Yeah. Perfect. Really? Oh, oh, good for you. Oh, uh-oh. Would you take a poll? Oh. That's exciting.
And then I'll probably make my way back after I speak.
You both still look like Hawaii.
We do.
I like it too.
Is that good or bad?
That's a good thing.
Coconut oil.
Yeah.
You might have pina colada. Working on planning one now for next year.
Oh, nice.
Our 60th wedding anniversary.
That's perfect.
So we're taking our daughter birthday on
Oh,
it.
how nice.
So we're working on getting that together.
That's great.
Yeah, we should have fun.
It's a big accomplishment.
And you made it that far. Hope we're another 10, at least.
There you go.
Say you got less gray hair than he does.
No.
See, you guys are the livelier crowd when you're doing Bowling Green.
Is that good, huh?
Yeah, you guys are the lot more people. You know what I get. See, here I'm seeing.
It is a good thing. People should be involved.
Welcome to the Maumee City Council meeting. It's November 4th at 6:15. We call the order, please.
Kirk,
Yes, present.
Lineback,
Yes.
Noonan,
Yes.
Poppenberger,
Yes.
Barrow,
Yes.
Fiskus,
Yes.
Harris.
Yes. We stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Scared me for a minute.
Thank you. Being that next Monday we're not meeting, I thought it was necessary to honor Veterans Day today while we're all together. It's important that we take time to honor our veterans and honor Veterans Day. Veterans Day is a day we honor all the branches of the military and the individuals who have served and worn the uniform in service of our country. We extend our deepest gratitude to all veterans in our community and any of those that are present here today. Only a few Americans choose the dangerous but necessary work of fighting our nation's enemies. It is our obligation to remember that those who gave, and remember and honor them for their service. If you wouldn't mind please standing, if you served in our military in any uniform capacity, if you're here tonight, would you stand please? And we'll start. Standing, if you wouldn't mind just stating your name and what branch of service you served and what years.
Andrew Sponsel, U.S. Army Infantry, 06 to 2013.
Thank you.
Matthew Osterand, U.S. Army, several different periods of time.
Thank you.
Phil Cox, 68, I'm retired WCB.
Thank you.
Steve Reddick, joined in 2006 with the Air National Guard and still currently serving.
Thank you.
And Josh Harris, United States Navy, served from 01 to 04.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your service. It's equally important that we pass the practice on to our children. Tonight we have Levi Reddick. If you would please come up to the stand. Is there a stool for him to stand on there? So like I said, it's equally important that we pass this on to our children, right? So this is never forgotten. And our grandchildren as well. The sacrifices that are made by our men and women who served in our armed forces. This is my grandson, Levi Reddick. His message today actually reflects back to Vietnam War and the lack of homecoming our servicemen and women received for their service. In fact, it was no homecoming at all for those folks. It is important we continue the healing from that conflict and we don't ever lose fact of what actually happened. So Levi, you have something to say? Go ahead and proceed. Levi is 10 years old in the 4th grade.
My name is Levi Reddick, and I am 10 years old. My dad, Steve Reddick, is currently serving full-time in the Ohio Air National Guard as a Master Sergeant at the 180th Fighter Wing in Ohio. I also have 2 uncles who serve as fighter pilots, Captain John Reddick and First Lieutenant Jim Reddick. Veterans Day is meaningful to our family because we know what it is like to sacrifice for the good of our country and our freedom. We would like to thank all men and women here today who have served in the military and show our gratitude and appreciation. The U.S. Army Major J. Billington, a platoon leader who fought in combat in Iraq and Afghanistan, wrote and recorded a song called The Eagle Cried. This song was written in honor of the sacrifices of Vietnam veterans who did not receive the hero's welcome that they deserved when they came home from the fight. It was written for and performed at the 13th Combat Aviation Battalion reunion at Fort Rucker, Alabama, held on May 15, 2010. My classmates and I sang this song at our Veterans Day Assembly, and I was chosen as a soloist. I would like to read the lyrics to this song for you today. To the Vietnam veterans and all the veterans here today, thank you for your service and welcome home. The Eagle Cried. A 12-month tour behind him, and all his hopes ahead. A pride that beat with his young heart, for all the things he did. As he stepped off the airplane, he stooped and kissed the ground, and he traded a war on foreign soil for one in his hometown. There was no love for the soldier, limping back home from the fight. That old flag was stitched with more than blue and white, but we turned our eyes when the eagle cried. I saw them spit upon him, and I heard them call him names. Something changed within his eyes, he didn't look the same. He hid his wounds from battle, so others didn't know, but he couldn't hide the damage of their scars upon his soul. There was no love for the soldier, limping back home from the fight. That old flag was stitched with more than blue and white, but we turned our eyes when the eagle cried. A generation later, we stand at war again, but I thank the Lord we've chosen now to honor faithful men. But we can't forget to look back and give our gratitude to all the men who fought before and lived and died without their due. Love has come back for the soldier to carry him home from the fight, 'cause that flag it flies with more than blue and white. So may tears fill our eyes when the eagle cries. Love has come back for the soldier to carry him home from the fight. God forgive us for the day we lost our sight, and we turned our eyes when the eagle cried.
Thank you. Very fitting. Thank you. And you can be dismissed if you want, but the meeting will continue from here.
Very good. Very good.
We'll now move to Committee of the Whole as an event.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. Boy, after that beautiful reading, this is just going to be boring stuff today. So, Committee of the Whole, we have, actually before we begin, we have Mike White from the Ohio Builders to give a presentation on the enclave of Palm Timbers, please. Thank you.
Welcome, Mr. White, if you just want to step up to the microphone. Thanks for coming tonight.
Should be proud of your grandson, by the way.
Okay.
Actually, I'm Mike White with Buckeye Real Estate Group, and I'm part of the development group that's bringing this to life, and then I'll also be the builder of it as well. So I'll do just a quick overview of what our plan is, and then if you have questions, feel free to ask or interrupt as I go. On the, I guess would be the northern portion along the Wabash Trail, we plan on building around 1,500 square foot villas, empty nester, young professional type products, where those yards will be maintained through the HOA as well. You'll see kind of separating that, we have a large park in the middle of that with a pond. We also will be connecting with the standard 11-foot concrete bike path from our entrance down at the southern. You can hear me okay?
Yep.
Just do this. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna, we don't have access here yet coming from the mall. But we've applied for it over the railroad tracks. We will pick up the bike trail from here, coming down, so it'll service eventually what's built here. We also are coming up to the north, tying into the park, which will then come out to Black Road and up and tie up to the Wabash Trail here. And then we'll have another connection piece up to the northeast as well. So a lot of connectivity in the subdivision, which we're finding with our subdivisions in Sylvania. That's been a real big seller for our homeowners, our families. So it's great that we're up against the Wabash Trail and we can take advantage of that. So again, the villas are going to be up through this area, and then we'll bring single family homes with the remainder. Those homes will be somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 square feet, built for young families. What we hope to bring to the market is the ability to hit a price point that this market is not in new construction available. We hope to be under the $400,000 price point for the homes. They will have a nice curb appeal. We'll have some stone, various colors of siding, and front porches on the majority, if not all of them. So we're looking to hit a price point, but not bring it to an ugly looking house from the street. Some of the things that we'll save money on are the square footage, and then some of the inside amenities that we commonly build now with tiled showers and those kind of things. So We'll make adjustments to be able to hopefully get the affordability to a point that makes a lot of sense.
So just for everybody that's here, if you were to pull up at the light there at Fallen Timbers, coming off the expressway, you pull up at the light, this would be actually in the south or the northwest corner of that wooded lot that you see that's vacant.
No, this is a farmland off of Black Road.
Oh, okay.
So Black Road is, I guess I missed the key point here. Black Road is here, and the Wabash Trail is here.
Okay.
So I think there's a wooded area back over on the other side of the tracks.
Thank you, Mayor McDowell. Mike, the villas, about what square footage are those?
Those will be about 1,500 square feet.
Those are for empty nesters and such?
Yes, so we did I'm still building the single family portion of it now in Quarry Ridge in Sylvania. And we came in with, I believe it was 64 villas as one piece of it. And then we've got about 150 houses, and I'm about halfway through with that. And it's really worked out well. What we found is that the villas have a lot of the grandparents there that come in, want to be around the kids, and or young professionals that don't quite want the full house yet.
About what number of villas and approximately what would they? They're going to be sold, correct?
Yeah, this is all for sale. There's on both sides, the houses and the villas are all for sale. We have
approximately.
Yeah, I think it's approximately about 100. Jason, do you know the number of that?
I thought it was like 150 villas and like 190 homes.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And the price range for the villas, approximately?
The villas will be probably around a 300, 325 is hopeful.
Thank you.
We hope to have this in the ground and under construction next year. We'll have to push to get that done. And who knows where the market goes and pricing goes, but if, today if I was gonna start them, they'd be in the prices that I mentioned.
Great. Great. Oh, okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Anybody have any more other questions?
Thank you, Mr. White.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming in. And you're welcome to leave. I mean, we just got business later on, but it's up to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is the Citizens Climate Lobby. Would you like to introduce Martha?
Yes, we welcome Charlotte here to give us a presentation about their group and what they stand for. Thank you.
Oh, hey, thank you, Shisha.
Almost need that step stool myself. That mouse is wireless, I can advance the slides. There we are. Thank you very much. Let me make sure I've got the keys right. There we go. All right. Hello, and thank you for inviting me to speak tonight. To introduce myself, my name is Charlotte Wright. I'm a citizen of Bowling Green, but I am the congressional liaison and a member of the steering committee of Citizens Climate Lobby Perrysburg, which in addition to representing Perrysburg, also represents the surrounding area, including Maumee. To introduce ourselves, CCL, as I'll call it for the rest of this presentation, is a nonpartisan grassroots volunteer organization committed to finding effective, fair, and workable solutions to the climate crisis. One of the key things about us is that we are nonpartisan and that we're relationship driven. We believe that no matter where you are on the political spectrum, you have a stake in a healthy environment, and thus our aim is to approach people from a place of respect and common ground rather than looking for differences. We work to promote, climate solutions in a few different ways. We meet with our state representatives regularly, which is something that I oversee as the liaison. We call and we write to state and federal legislators. We engage with the media, primarily through writing to newspapers. We table at local events, and we give presentations like today's. We believe that a true and equitable solution to the climate problem is multifaceted, but the keystone idea that we champion is something called a carbon fee and dividend policy. One of the things that we do is we collect endorsements from prominent local individuals and organizations, including local governments, in favor of this. I'll talk more on that shortly, but I have been asked to briefly touch on CCL's other policy pillars. So in addition to a carbon fee and dividend, we support healthy forests, which means that we support legislation that promotes and supports both existing forests and climate-smart forestry practices. We also heavily support urban forestry efforts, which, as the city of Maumee is aware, can greatly reduce temperatures in urban areas, as well as a myriad of other benefits. We support electrification and efficiency efforts, both by supporting legislation like rebates for home weatherization, and by educating the public and local officials about the benefits of these programs. Another important one is permitting reform. We support proposals that will add to our ability to transmit clean energy across the United States, promote grid resiliency, and speed up approval of already pending projects while still making sure that communities have the opportunity to make their voices heard about projects that are going to impact their communities. That leaves us with carbon pricing, which I'll go ahead and dive into now. It's a multifaceted solution, so I'll go through it in terms of the three major facets of it. First, we have the fee. It's worth noting that CCL specifically favors HR 5744, the Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act, but as I'll discuss later, we also promote and collect endorsements for the basic concept of a carbon fee and dividend, not just for the specific piece of legislation. The basic idea will remain the same. So how it works is that a gradually rising per ton fee on CO2 emissions is assessed as far upstream as possible, essentially the first point of sale into our economy. With the Energy Innovation Act, the proposed amount would be $15 per ton the first year, and then an increase of $10 per ton each subsequent year, equating to approximately 10 cents on a gallon of gas, roughly. The money collected, minus administrative costs, which is an estimated 2% average annually for the piece of legislation that we're talking about here, is paid out equally to U.S. households as a dividend, sometimes referred to as a carbon cashback, which we'll talk more in a minute. This would continue until greenhouse gas emissions from covered fuels are at or below 10% of 2005 emissions. Something I want to note is that agricultural fuels and fuels used by the military would be exempt under this. Now, of course, fossil fuel producers will pass these increased costs along, but it is important to note that economists who have studied the bill predict that the vast majority of households, particularly the low and middle income households on the spectrum, will either break even or will financially come out slightly ahead with this carbon cash back. In addition to the fee and dividend, a carbon border adjustment mechanism, also known as a CBAM, can be enacted. This would essentially be a tariff placed on imported goods with a higher carbon footprint than our domestically produced ones, or from countries without equivalent carbon pricing, coupled with a rebate on U.S. goods exported to higher footprint countries or to countries without equivalent carbon pricing. In essence, what this means is that it protects American manufacturing, which is already among the cleanest in the world. It rewards us, and it prevents pollution from simply being exported out of the country. It also puts pressure on our trading partners, most notably China, in order to have them enact their own equivalent carbon pricing. It's worth noting that other countries around the world are already enacting their own CBAMs or planning to. The European Union has one set to come into effect starting in 2026. Japan is looking to put one into effect in 2028. Other countries like Canada and the UK are also considering one similar to the European Union's. So if they enact CBAMs and we do not, that puts us at an economic disadvantage. Now, aside from the economic effects, the reason we support this is because in addition to being fair and predictable, which is what we constantly hear that businesses are looking for, they want legislation to have them know what's coming down the pipeline. It is highly effective at reducing emissions. Carbon pricing paired with permitting reform can help us meet our country's emissions reduction goals, and most importantly, it does so without having to choose winners and losers among technologies. Individuals, businesses, and local governments are free to choose what solutions work for them, and emissions are driven down using the market rather than a top-down government mandate for one technology or solution or the other. Current endorsers, we have over 3,000 nationwide for the Energy Innovation Act. more toward general carbon fee and dividend as well when you include that number. We've also, let's see, I apologize, 162 local governments are included in those endorsers. As a chapter, we've collected endorsements from Toledo City Council and last year from Bowling Green City Council. It's December of 2023. So why do we seek endorsements from local governments? There's a couple of different reasons. First, it sends a strong message to leaders in higher levels of government. It shows that leaders in their communities are aware of and concerned about the climate and that they support carbon pricing as a solution. Not only that, it shows local individuals that there's discussion happening about these issues outside of DC. It raises awareness of these discussions and simultaneously amplifies solutions. It shows leadership in times of political gridlock, especially when we can obtain bipartisan endorsements like Bowling Green's was. Lastly, and in my opinion most importantly, we do it because city governments are affected by climate change. In 2022, the Ohio Environmental Council published a report titled The Village Can Do. In that report, it is estimated that municipal governments will see estimated increases of anywhere from 26 to 82% annually in the amount of money they are spending on climate-related costs like stormwater management, drinking water treatment, and storm recovery by 2050. That is an estimated $1.8 to $5.9 billion per year above what we are already spending across Ohio for municipal governments locally. We believe that municipal governments have the right to have a say in the kind of future that they would like to see and the solutions that they want in order to help them get there. An endorsement is one of the ways for them to do so. Obviously, that's a lot of information. If you have questions now, I can take them, or alternatively, I can hang out afterwards and I can give you my contact information if there's anything you think about.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that would probably be, let's get through the meeting. Yeah, that would be great. And are there any quick little questions, or should we wait till the end, till after the meeting? Okay, we'll wait till after the meeting. Thank you.
Certainly. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Moving on, then council look at the agenda. Do you have any questions, inputs? Council Lightbox?
On the capital purchases that we have listed, both of them are going to be purchased through Sourcewell, as I understand. And it's also my understanding Sourcewell, while it's an approved source, we don't have to do the bidding process. I'm just kind of wondering why we chose to go with Sourcewell as opposed to a bidding process. Because the bidding process usually gives us the lowest acceptable cost, doesn't it?
Yeah, Sourcewell is actually a state bid. It's a private company, and the state of Minnesota is considered it's a private company with big of a municipal status to be able to do this. In my career, I've never seen a private bidder undercut a state purchase price, ever. I mean, what was the last time we purchased police cars, Josh? Was it last year, and how much were they?
I think in 21 we did it,
yeah.
And all the Sourcewell pricing and all that's always been the best.
Yeah. Okay, so Sourcewell is the lowest cost.
It is the lowest.
Okay,
and then state law has done some big costs.
Thank you.
President Barrow, I would like to comment a little bit about the equipment that's being purchased. Thank you. Go ahead. It's recommended in response to the Ohio EPA's findings and orders to eliminate infiltration of stormwater. In October of 2024, Council approved the expansion of the sewer department to begin the work necessary to eliminate overflows of the sanitary system during wet weather events. To aid in these efforts, some expansion of equipment inventory will be necessary to allow the new crew to keep ahead of the lining and repair work previously authorized and or endorsed by council. The purchase of an excavator dedicated to the sewer department will allow excavation work related to system deficiencies to continue uninterrupted by other excavation work regularly required by the city infrastructure and the city service department. So there is a designated reason and service for this equipment.
Thank you, Mayor Powell. Are there any more questions on our agenda? Having seen none, this concludes committee of the whole.
Thank you. We'll move to citizen comments. You have 3 minutes per person to speak on the subject that is of interest to you. Mr. Ruggiero, if you would please come to the microphone. it should state where you live.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Frank Cruciero, 1316 Anderson.
Welcome, Frank.
And I'll ask for your I'm not a public speaker, but I'm here to, I guess, I like to say that it's time that we quit wasting, throwing money away on projects that we don't understand, all excessive stuff that's not necessary. And the latest thing is, and I only have 3 minutes, but the latest thing is the sign on Michigan coming into Maumee that says, supposedly welcome to Maumee. It's a large sign. It has, in the last month or two, they put electrical service on it. And whoever engineered that or designed that service and whoever wrote the specs for them should be fired. Right now, that sign, that electrical, that panel, if you need to work on it, you have to get on your knees and maybe even on your belly. Now, that sign, I'm not sure the Toledo Edison would even look it up, and I don't know how I don't see a means of them hooking that up. Right now, the bottom of the electrical panel, you cannot open. It's underground. And if you want to put a lock on it for it being electrical equipment, that lock, you have to dig a hole and put the lock underground. And fortunately, somebody, I don't know who the hell ordered them to go ahead and beautify it by putting dirt and plants there. That dirt covers the panel. You cannot open it. Right now, if there was hooked up at the Edison and you wanted to go there and flip a switch to light up the sign, you would need a shovel. Maybe a small shovel, but you still need a shovel. I think that we're wasting a hell of a lot of money on all of the superficial stuff. We're creating an awful lot of hazards throughout the city. The city doesn't even follow their code on work that they've done. And I only have 3 minutes. So I believe that all of this is unnecessary. That's the first sign I seen. It sat there for a long time. And then I noticed that they did some electrical work, or supposedly done some electrical work on it. And I couldn't, every time I went past there, it just irritated the hell out of me. And if you guys need to go there, I have a flashlight tonight, or you can wait till morning to look at it. And that for you, it doesn't matter here. Somebody stole one of the sign for Harris out of there. So it's another one of Maumee that somebody picked up. So
that's 3 minutes, sir. Did you just want to wrap up your thought?
No, that's it. I think I said it, and I think you understood. Maybe, no, I don't think, maybe you did not understand. But
thank you.
We're wasting a hell of a lot of money.
Thank you.
We understood.
Tracy Elmore, 1038 Ogans. I attended a special council meeting on October 28th, and I was excited to hear about the details of the new development that was being proposed by Metropolitan Housing. I was able to see potential benefits as well as obvious drawbacks, and was discouraged that a proposal with such a major impact on our city was considered without any community input, yet required a last-minute executive session discussion between council and the developers behind closed doors to get more details before they could vote on it as an emergency. Once upon a time in Maumee, there used to be an economic development committee that would have met at least once before such a vote, where council members, city staff, residents, and the developers would openly discuss the proposal and get answers to their questions. Since the council abolished this and most other committees nearly 3 years ago, it has eliminated open discussion and transparency. No matter how smart and experienced the 10 of you are, there's always something you hadn't thought about. So why would you limit the opportunities for vital dialogue and pass an emergency ordinance? We're getting the impression that we're getting in your way and you'd rather be left alone. With 100% tax abatement being offered to this developer, did council reach out to those agencies that will be adversely affected by your handout? Lucas County Services alone, or Lucas County alone, gets 17% of our property taxes, and they will miss out on approximately $1 million a year for 15 years. Do the current Lucas County Commissioners want to be included in this discussion? Agencies affected by this include Children's Services, Developmental Disabilities, Mental Health and Recovery, Senior Services, the Zoo, 9/11, and Imagination Station. No one wants to be a Scrooge and vote no for these well-deserving organizations, so we vote yes and always pass them. And that's what developers count on when they ask the city for the tax abatement, making more and more levies necessary. Most of these organizations have 2, 3, or even 4 levies being assessed on your property taxes right now. The Maumee schools, which get around 60%, will miss out on over $700,000 a year. Metro Parks, $240,000. Pena County, $180,000. The library, $200,000. Think about that the next time you vote on a levy request. This administration is using your pocketbooks and conscience as collateral to entice a large corporation to do business in Maumee and underwrite their whole project, while their higher rates will eventually elevate all rental norms and price families out of Maumee. Again, I agree that providing more housing opportunities to different population demographics in Maumee is key to attracting and maintaining a diverse population, thriving businesses, and unique entertainment venues in Maumee. We have a great resource of residents willing to collaborate and share their knowledge and make our city successful. Please reinstate the committees and let's get to talking.
Is there a moment? Yes. Thank you.
There is. Oh, good.
Hello, I'm Melinda Piotrowski, and I live at 1602 Trailview. And this has come across on a couple different media things that I've looked at. And number one, I want to know if it's true, and if it is true, what does it really mean? And it is, all Maumee real estate buyers and sellers must sign a mandatory warning disclosure on any Maumee property bought or sold. So, number one, is that true in Maumee?
I can tell you it came from a realtor association. It didn't come from the city.
Okay, so this is not anything meant. Okay, all right, thank you very much.
Amy, Hoffman?
It's hard to follow Tracy because she kind of took over a lot of what I was going to say. But I guess I'm just discouraged. I had hoped that the city would want to start working with the residents and want the residents to start trusting them. But what happened on the 28th is again why we can't trust the city. Everything is done without our knowledge. We're not asked. We're not included. We all want the best for Maumee. We know that we need to expand. We're all for more housing. All we want is to be included. We have a lot of smart people in this town that you guys can tap into. And no matter, like Tracy said, no matter how smart you are, you can always learn from somebody else. I don't care if they clean toilets for a living. They may have the best idea you've ever heard. So I was very disappointed in that. The other thing I guess I really want to get clarity on is how the First Amendment applies in here, because it seems to be different strokes for different folks. The last meeting I attended, we had somebody up here bashing Philip Weinbach, and it was allowed. We had a councilman go on a 9-minute tirade, belittling a citizen, acting like a petulant child, and it was allowed. And the First Amendment says so. They have a right to free speech. Everybody has a right to free speech, even to criticize government and government officials. That is our First Amendment right. It is a constitutional right. It takes over rights of anything else.
But yet Danny Cobb was shut down when he dared criticize somebody. So how does that come into play? Do special people have special privileges? I was very disappointed in that. We shut some people down, but we allow other people. Everybody has a right to criticize whom they want. But that's not being allowed here, only certain people. And I just personally, Bill, you took a beating on the last meeting. I want to thank you because you have listened to us. Ted Cruz, you have listened to us. Thank you. We appreciate that. We may not always agree with you, but we appreciate you at least listening to us. Thank you.
Bob Rumsley. Welcome, Bob.
It's been a while. It's always good to be back, though. Two things. At the October 21 council meeting, during the council comments section of the meeting, one council member took over 9 minutes expressing his thoughts. At these public meetings, members of the community are permitted 3 minutes to speak on a topic. Imagine if everyone up there took 9 minutes, share their comments, we'd be here a long time. That's not my point. My point is this. Is it not right that a rule established for one group be the same for all the others attending these meetings? On a more positive note, I would like to use this public forum to express a deep appreciation for the outstanding news coverage conducted by the Maumee Mirror. I tip my hat off to Mike McCarthy and his Mirror team in delivering to us each week information regarding our community that is reliable and evenly weighed. It's my humble opinion that the Maumee Mirror does an excellent job in covering community issues, local sports, and our events. The Maumee is definitely, the Mirror is definitely an asset to our community, and we are better because they are in it. I hope Mike and his team are around for a long, long time. Thank you.
Stephen?
I'm not a public speaker either. Well, I would like to bring attention to an individual that is working for you guys, Gina Schnell. Apologies on
Excuse me, Steve, could you move the mic a little bit closer? Thank you.
This is better.
Yeah.
Gina Shell. I have her names. All right. Anyways, I came to her and seeking. I had questions. I needed not a public speaker. Forgive me. Anyway, there was a pothole on Wayne Street. I was told to go to her, call her receptionist to address this. It eventually got handled by Bob. He's great, he's fantastic. But anyway, on a recorded line, Gina's receptionist openly admitted that she ignores phone calls from citizens. She specifically also admitted that she ignores my phone calls. When I visit Gina's office, she wasn't doing anything. The receptionist, I forget her name. When I tried to bring my concerns to Gina about not just her receptionist, but the issues on Wayne Street, the pothole, she was super negative, unprofessional, and disrespected me. I asked if I could record her to have her be accountable for her actions. She declined, she shut the door, and everything else. When I approached her, you know, the counter to get cards, so I'm bad with names. She did give me her card, but the individual with her, I think his name is Nick, he laughed at me. He laughed at me because I openly asked questions about some of the terminology that she was using. I did not understand the terminology. And neither did her receptionist. Over a recorded line, her receptionist could not explain to me the definition of the words that she was using at all. So I decided to take action and ask Patrick if we could have a meeting. That was also recorded. I asked Patrick, after I laid out all my concerns, he has a more in-depth understanding of what happened and what transpired between the three of us. I asked for a follow-up, via the email. That never got sent to me. I constantly came to his office and talked to the receptionist multiple times, at least 3 or 4 times. I constantly gave my information to them so they could follow up. I had multiple ways to be followed up with. There is no accountability for these people disrespecting citizens that live here, and I've been here for over 20 years.
That's your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good job.
Welcome, John.
I'm not a public speaker either.
That's all right.
It's my first time speaking.
You don't have to be.
Dear Mayor and City Council, first I'd like to congratulate the Maumee football team, soccer teams on an excellent year. I was recently inspired by the We Are Maumee sign as I drove through our city, prompting me to share my thoughts with you today. I find myself questioning what We Are Maumee truly signifies to all of you. It should not imply that a council member can publicly express false grievances about a citizen, or that a mayor would allow such negativity to go unchallenged for 8 minutes during a council meeting. Needs to go both ways if that's the decorum these chambers seek. However, I would hope this government and the citizens behind me wish we could have a complete mulligan and do a do-over. None of this division does any or anyone any good. Furthermore, I've noticed expressions of discontent among one of you city council people. This does not embody the spirit of We Are Maumee either. Your facial expressions and muttered words do not fall on deaf ears. We all see it. I won't call you out, so you need to reflect on those actions and knock it off. I sit in the back of the room at all these council meetings. I don't speak, I listen and I observe. I'm a very good observer of people. I've been in sales for a lot of years. This phrase should reflect our commitment to open communication and responsible governance. It should not translate into decisions that may financially burden our residents without proper discussion and transparency. Let's face it, you all are under a microscope, whether good or bad, and it's essential to recognize that. I do not defend your roles because of your low salaries or your tenure as councilor or mayor like others have tried to tell me about you. To me, that doesn't matter. It's just an excuse. You're here to represent and keep this wonderful city wonderful through fiscal responsibilities and citizen responsibilities. As a business owner and someone who also dedicates 20 to 30 hours a week to my local nonprofit without compensation, I now stand here as an advocate for many of the citizens of Maumee through my involvement with CMAC, for which I'm also paid nothing. I am in it to help change the trajectory of perception in this city. I have now claimed as my home and help make a positive difference in this community. I can assure you I didn't move to Maumee 5 years ago to become a citizen's advocate. I moved here for the vibrant community I heard so much about. All I ask is that you prioritize transparency, consider the impacts of your decisions on our residents, and engage in meaningful communication before enacting changes that could financially burden the people who truly embody the phrase, "We are Maumee."
That's your time.
In my experience over the past 5 months, with my involvement with CMAC.
Just go ahead and just conclude your thoughts.
In my experience over the past 5 months with my involvement with CMAC and coming to council meetings, I have seen that the people of Maumee are passionate and want to be united. They want a voice in the matters that affected their lives. Is that too much to ask? And I know you guys are tired of the dissent that's going on in this community. It sickens me. And we all have to change. We can't look at the little things and make it into something much bigger. And you've heard the people behind us. It all comes down to transparency, communication, education for the citizens of Maumee. And I know you all have a financial responsibility for the city, but you also have that commitment for the citizens. Thank you.
I move to adoption of the agenda. Motion to approve the agenda is submitted, please.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, could I ask for 30 seconds more?
Please.
Please?
Come on up, Frank.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, there's the thing about that whole sign is that we paid someone to design it, we paid someone to install the sign, we paid someone to put the dirt there, we paid someone to put the shrubbery there. Now, like most projects, we're gonna pay someone to take the shrubs out of there, take the dirt out of there. We do the whole thing, and that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
You're right.
Motion to adopt the agenda. Yep.
Mr. Mayor, now I'll move to approve the agenda as submitted.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Call the roll on the agenda, please.
Kurt,
Yes.
Lineback,
Yes.
Noonan,
Yes.
Pufferberger,
Yes.
Barrow,
Yes.
Biscuits,
Yes.
Harris.
Yes. Approval of meeting minutes from October 21st and the 28th special meeting.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I'd like to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from our regularly scheduled meeting of October 21st and special meeting on October 28th.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I'll second that motion. Okay, we'll call the roll on the meeting minutes, please.
Kurt,
Yes.
Lineback,
Yes.
Noonan,
Yes.
Pufferberger,
Yes.
Barrow,
Yes.
Biscuits,
Yes.
Harris.
Yes. We have no petitions and communications. We'll move to consent calendar. City Council has examined each item on the consent calendar, proposed legislation and other items set forth on this agenda that involves the expenditure of public funds, use of public property, or use of the city of Maumee resources, and have determined that and find that any action or expenditure set forth in those items would be for and serve a public purpose as defined by Ohio law. And the expenditure and or use of public property would be for the general good of the residents and taxpayers of the city of Maumee and the general public, and promotes the public health and general welfare of the city of Maumee and the general public. So we need a motion to approve the consent calendar items, second, and then we'll discuss these. Mr. Newman?
Excuse me. Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I'll make a motion to approve all consent calendar items.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I second that motion. Okay, item is a recommendation from the city administrator adopting a model plan for AED use at City of Maumee sports and recreation locations. Can you explain what that is, please?
The law now requires us to have AED locations and trained personnel or trained parks people who would be at the parks to use these AEDs. We have one in here, right there, also on the second floor, so we put it all public space, all public buildings,
Okay.
public parks.
Any questions on that?
Wait, so how does that work if you have to have someone there that can use it too?
No, you don't have to have somebody.
Oh,
else
okay.
station. It's just that if we have
Okay.
park personnel have to be trained.
Gotcha.
And we are going to be going through training.
Then we also had purchases of two pieces of equipment that we kind of talked about in the committee of the whole. Any other comments or questions on that? Okay, we'll call the roll on the consent calendar.
Kurt,
Yes.
Lineback,
Yes.
Noonan,
Yes.
Pufferberger,
Yes.
Barrow,
Yes.
Biscuits,
Yes.
Harris.
Yes. Okay, we'll move, we have no new business, no old business. We'll move to comments by the floor. I will pass. We'll move to Mr. Kirk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to welcome and thank the about half dozen veterans who are here this evening. I thank you for what you did, and I wish your grandson were here, Jim, but he did a great job honoring the veterans. And, I am of the generation had many friends who served in Vietnam, and what your grandson said about the lack of respect that was shown to them when they returned. I know it's true. We've all read about it, but my friends and acquaintances who served in that, conflict, that war, have told me about it. It's still upsetting to them, 50 years later or so. But, thank you, all of you veterans. That's all I have, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Kirk. Mr. Linebacker?
A couple comments. First, in relation to the presentation we had from CCL, I recognize that some people and organizations think that reducing the amount of carbon released into our atmosphere is the most important issue our country must address. And those people believe that, they lobby hard for it. You think this organization really does that? It was a very good presentation. While smart reduction in carbon output is worth pursuing at a national level, along with other important initiatives such as green energy R&D, adaptation strategies, geoengineering, and plans to prosper underdeveloped countries, we should keep the importance of this topic in perspective. An April 2024 Gallup poll of U.S. residents ranked concern about environmental quality 12th out of 14 different concerns. At the top of the list was inflation, crime, hunger, and the economy. Of note, the most pressing concern about the environment was not reducing carbon, but pollution of drinking water. Now, for us here at the local level, our priority, I believe, must be upgrading the sewer system to prevent the sanitary sewer overflows that pollute our waterways and contribute to that problem. This is where I believe our attention and effort should be focused as a local government body. Individuals who feel strongly about this issue can certainly express their support through their votes for public officials at state and federal levels where real solutions will be crafted. The second item, I wanted to echo Mayor McDonald's concern for passing our gratitude to veterans on to the next generation. My dad was of the generation that volunteered to go to war in 1941, early 42. He served in the Army Air Corps. I had a cousin who was in the U.S. Air Force, and sadly he died in a training accident, flying jets. But these are people, obviously, that I know. And I think one thing that's happening in our society is more and more people don't have a direct connection with individuals who've served our country in some capacity. And that's where this passing it along to the next generation is so important. We need to not have faceless veterans who go off to war and stand on that thin line to protect us, our rights. So I encourage whatever projects the schools are undertaking, and we can as individuals to get to know veterans. Thank you.
Mr. Noonan?
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. Number one thing is encourage everybody to go out and vote. Excuse me, tomorrow. And I know plenty of people have talked about the recognition of the veterans, so I'll keep it short and just obviously we'll be here on the 11th, so wish all the veterans happy Veterans Day, and obviously I'll do whatever I can to help recognize those people. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pufferberger.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I'd also like to remind everyone to vote if you haven't done so already. We did a few weeks ago, so I'm happy to have that done. But and then also, once again, like everyone else said, saying Happy Veterans Day to everyone on next Monday. I in the Air Force around the time with Vietnam, and she doesn't like to talk about her service because she was so underappreciated during that time. So it is definitely important to keep that in the front of our minds. And that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Barrow.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. Just a couple of things. It was really a pleasure seeing that young man get up, your grandson, and do that beautiful presentation. My father was in the service. He was in the Navy. My gosh, down there. But he never talked about his service. I mean, people typically in the military that never shared their story, but there's scars you don't see. We 100% appreciate what they've done, forever will. We did, one was a couple of topics on our sewer project. When our sewer issue came to be, we met with hundreds of people over the period of months. When issue 2 came up, issue 1, 2, we met with hundreds of people again. So we are listening, and transparency is there, you have to look for it. I really appreciate, and if I say your name wrong, I apologize, Mrs. Petrakowski, for coming here and saying, hey, I read this on Facebook. Is this true? I really appreciate you coming and asking that question, because there's just so much out there that's just misinformation. But thank you again, we do appreciate it. And we appreciate hearing everybody's remarks. They come here and they're not asking about something. That's what we need to work on. Thank you.
Mr. Fiskus, thank you, Vice Brown.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I'm going to set a record for most times in a row talking about the marching band. They went to state marching band finals 2 weekends ago. They got a 2 rating, which is the second highest you can get. So I just wanted to give them a shout out. Thank you to all the veterans who get out and vote. And whether your guy or the other girl wins, I hope we all remember that in the end we're all neighbors, and that's the most important thing to remember afterwards. Thank you.
Mr. Harris.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor McDonald. I do admit that last council meeting during my comments, I did a very long-winded speech. It was inappropriately long. So the council, its administration, and the citizens, I do apologize for my actions that day. I will keep this one under 8 minutes for sure. I do really want to thank the veterans, those who showed up tonight, as well as those that we're going to be honoring starting Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of this week. We have, I think, 237 veterans that we're going to honor. I am going to be visiting 21 personally myself. My first one is someone we actually missed last year. He's a Vietnam vet, and the Vietnam vets are the ones that definitely really felt the impact when they came back to America after they served, and they felt like everyone turned their back on them. So, I mean, I make it a personal mission to thank a veteran, but when I see a Vietnam vet, I really show a little extra gratitude towards them. Tomorrow is election day. Please go out and vote. And just like everyone else, Mr. Mayor, Levi had a really great presentation. I do appreciate what he had to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Burke?
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
The Veterans
Thank
Day.
you. This will conclude actually the business part of council. We are going to go into executive session for the purpose of pending litigation and collective bargaining, which is allowed by law. Can I take a motion to do that, please, Mr. Fiskus?
Thank you, Council. I move to enter executive session for pending litigation and collective bargaining.
And I'll second that. Thank you. Call the roll on that, please.
Kurt?
Yes.
Lineback?
Yes.
Noonan?
Yes.
Huffenberger?
Yes.
Barrow?
Yes.
Fiskus? Harris?
Yes.